Hi there, it's Kevin with GatheringMagic.com here with the wrap-up video for our 2-2 finish for playing on a budget with Mono Black Infect. This again is a modern deck that costs around $100 to $200. It definitely is within that budget range. So, felt pretty good about this. We had some pretty tough matchups and were able to beat the UWR Flash or UWR mid-range deck, which I really did want to showcase because I really do think that this is one of the better matchups is against that UWR mid-range deck. Unfortunately, we did lose to the Jun matchup. He got the sick turn 2 Dark Confidant without any answer, no Disfigure. Well, he's able to Thought Seize away the removal both times and then just continue to get card advantage from there on out. But that's Jun for you. Jun is about $1,000 deck, so you know it's okay if I lose to Jun. I feel okay with my $100 deck being beat by a $1,000 deck. So yep, this deck costs less than one of his cards, one Tarmogoyf, and his deck costs more than this entire deck. And let's see, we also lost a UW control, UW mid range. But again, I feel like that is a decent matchup. I think that if we can just stick a Phyrexian Crusader, we'll be fine against that matchup. And we were able to beat that Infect deck, the UG Infect deck, quite handily. I think that this deck is extremely good against the UG Infect, as you can get their hand down quite quickly with the discard and have enough control up to take out any sort of threat. So yeah, I'm really liking this deck. It's a fun deck to play. It does have some terrible matchups, but then again, it does have some very good matchups. It's something that you can play that if your meta has a lot of control in it, this deck does do very well against those control matchups, as you can wheedle down their hand and then get card advantage through like Sign in Blood, or just have that one turn swing with the Inkmoth Nexus or the Phyrexian Crusader hooked up with a Runechanter's Pike. So I don't know what I would change with this deck. I'd probably need to play test it around. The Infest didn't seem very good. There are some decks that this is very good against, the Infest. It's very good against the Boggle if you can get it out before they get their dude up huge. And it's also very good against like Soul Sisters, of course. It wipes the board. Black-white tokens. A lot of decks I think the Infest is good against. I just did not see a use to it in this this modern daily. One of the cards you can use instead of Infest, which costs one more, is Damnation. But Damnation is an incredibly expensive card. It's like $30, I think. I'm not too sure on the price of Damnation, but here it is right here. Oh, that's a text list. Let's look at all the versions. Destroy all creatures that can be. So it's a Wrath of God for black, and it's just one more, and I think that might be a little bit more. The thing about Infest is Infest doesn't kill your Vampire Nighthawk. Your Nighthawk survives, and a lot of times you can wipe the board. It's very good against like Deathrite Shamans too, which can be a pain in the butt. Speaking of Deathrite Shaman does fit nicely into this deck. You can go a different route besides Infect. You can go the Deathrite Shaman and the like the Rack. I think it's what it's called. There's an artifact called the Rack, and there's a card out of it deals X -3 number of cards in his or her hand. So let's see, maybe it's not the Rack. What's the other? Is it Black Vice? No, I think it is the Rack. At the beginning of chosen player's upkeep, the Rack deals X damage to that player, where X is 3 minus the number of cards in his or her hand. Yeah, okay. So the less cards they have in the hand, the more damage it does. And then there's also Shrieking Affliction from Ravnica that you can go, and Shrieking Affliction is kind of the same thing. At the beginning of each upkeep, that player has 1 or fewer cards in his hand. They lose 3 life, so kind of like another the Rack. And so you pop that out first turn, and then begin to wheedle down their hand, and that can be your kill condition. I haven't actually tried this version. I just know that it does work. And then you can use other cards like Deathrite Shaman can do 2 more damage per turn when you're exiling your instances and sorceries. And then you can have like cards like Liliana of the Veil that can help discard their hand or any other sort of discard. But that's another option if you don't want to go the Phyrexian Crusader and the Inkmoth Nexus. The thing I like about the Inkmoth Nexus is it's a land, and it also doubles as your kill condition, and it doesn't really hurt to throw it on either Lashwrithe or Runechanter's Pike. So that's why I like this route more than the Shrieking Affliction route. Anyway, yeah, I feel good about how we did. Again, Let's just go over the matchup. So lost against UW mid-range. The Geist got in there the games that I wasn't able to stabilize with the Phyrexian Crusaders, and that was I believe a 2-1 loss. Yeah, the win there was we won quite handily. It was very easy. I think it was like a turn 5 with the double Phyrexian Crusaders, and then we won against the Bug Infect. That was a very easy matchup. Way too much control in this match. Then we won against UWR control. We were able to wheedle down his hand and get that Phyrexian Crusader online and win that way. And then we got slaughtered by Jund. So 2-2 in the Modern Daily again is pretty decent for a budget deck. I don't have the most experience with this deck. I'm sure there is cards that are better than what I'm using. If you have any ideas for this deck, please let me know. I'm really liking the Sadistic Sacrament, so I think that they can come in versus a lot of decks. I did want to test this versus Tron. When I used to play this versus Tron, it was a little bit weak because Tron was just able to get crazy card advantage once they got their 3 Tron lands, and then they start just cycling through their artifacts, like the eggs type artifacts that sack to add any mana of your mana pool and draw a card, and they can just fill up their hand and eventually find that Karn, and you really don't have any answer for Karn in this deck. So I mean, you could always splash red for a few red cards like Dreadbore that could help against those Planeswalkers. But as far as this mono black list is concerned, I really like the cards that in it. Really like the Funeral Charm. Inquisitions are always good in this deck as well. You could always go Thoughtseize, but again, Thoughtseize are so expensive. But yeah, let me know what you think about this deck. I really would like your input. What I could include in this deck, what changes I could make. Anyway, this has been Kevin with GatheringMagic.com. Thanks for watching, and see you next week. For more great Magic the Gathering videos, check out my YouTube channel at youtube.com/RogueDeckBuilder. See you next week.